You stir in your sleep. The sound of gentle, cautious thuds on the floor rouses you, slightly. You smirk in the back of your murky mind at the effort. The sound of purring surrounds you like familiar white noise, followed by an even bigger thud on the floor next to your bed. A giant hand lays itself upon you with unique but unmistakable tenderness. Through thick and thin, you've come to rely and depend on the loyal, clumsy beast now settling in by the wayside. And it chose you, of all things, reluctant as you were in the beginning. There's a comfort in that thought, and in this moment, that nearly puts you back to sleep under your strange, weighted blanket. But you start to grow more conscious anyway. Where did your curious ally just come from? What is that smell? It's sort of metallic, but mixed with something sulfurous and acidic. The last time you smelled something near that combination, you were in the... Oh no. You were in the apothecary, haggling with that stubborn elf. Things grew heated, voices and hackles rose, but nothing untoward was said, and your companion was told to stay put. But it wouldn't be the first time they didn't listen. Did they hear the shared agitation between you and the elf? Oh no. You wriggle your way out from under the heavy palm and fingers spread wide across the bed. A skill, you reflect, that took you many nights of being pinned fast before you could master escaping by choice. Glancing down at the highly unusual yet somehow adorable creature, in your eyes at least, you sigh at the unmistakable smears of blood across its gray skin, mixed with who knows what alchemical fluids. Oh no. You follow the entirely too obvious trail of evidence to the front door, knowing exactly what you'll find. Hoping, with futility, you are wrong. You are not. The crumpled and eviscerated corpse of the elf placed on the porch as neatly as can be, given the circumstances. And all you can think is, not again.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them. Hello there, creatures, and welcome back to another episode of Encounter This, the first one of 2023,
Ooh.
I think. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. My
Yes.
clock says 23. As always, I am your host, James, the Beastly One. And with me, as always, Freeman, the Intelligent One. And today, he's going to be intelligenting me through the gray render found in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes on 209 and Monsters of the Multiverse 146. That's an interesting duality there for a single creature appearing in two books.
Indubitably. Well, we discussed a little bit off mic, and it's kind of known at this point that Monsters of the Multiverse repeated they just re-released a lot of characters in a lot of creatures from the previous books into this one book. So it was a big compilation of a lot of the previous ones plus new creatures and new content. So some people said it was a cash grab to just like repeat the same creatures, but then other people kind of said, hey, it stops you from having to buy every single book as well. You can now just buy this one and get away with a lot more. So kind of off and on.
For now.
Yeah. But the frustration I've had with it so far is that they tend to remove content. And sometimes not for the better. Sometimes it's redundant, or just slightly changed words. But we will talk about that pretty much right out of the gate. Actually, let's get it over with.
Okay.
So we're covering gray renders. I had never heard of these creatures. I just picked them. From the table of contents, and I thought these are neat. I'll do this. So in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, it starts with a quote. I suspect the gray renders owe their origin to the Neogi, since they are often in their company. Those that appear in the wilderness are like castaways from frustrated Neogi masters. This does not appear in Monsters of the Multiverse, despite it being also a Mordenkainen's book, quote unquote. But what's frustrating about that is that there's literally no other mention relating these creatures to the Neogi other than this quote. So they effectively made it more difficult to find the connection, or they seem to remove it for no reason at all. So I found that really annoying. I almost completely missed the connection. If it weren't for that quote and a little bit of information in the Forgotten Realms wiki, would not have known. Now, that being said, we're not going to go really into the connection. That's about all we get with the gray renders. But I have a funny feeling I might go look at Neogi after this. So just to see what happens. Spoiler alert. So yeah, that annoyed me right out of the gate. It's not just seems like a redundant thing to remove, and the stat block and pages in those books are basically the same size. So it's like they just didn't.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there was
it's not like a
no change
like
of
a
format.
printing cost.
No, not that I could see. They could have just put it in smaller, like just
right. Yeah, I guess 10-point font instead of 12.
It's dumb. So that being said,
D1 now with less flavor.
Oh God. Just salt, which is one flavor, salt. Lots of saltiness. So as far as the origin goes to these gray renders, there's actually two. So that quote gives one. It seems to be they might owe their origin to the Yogi, because their family. Sorry, I keep stumbling over that name, Neogi. I don't know, it's a weird one. I can't get my lips around it.
We looked it up, listeners.
We did look it up, and I still can't say it. So the other option that isn't really explained any more than the Neogi familiarity is that their origins might be traced back to the inner plane of elemental chaos, which you'll find fits nicely in a thematic way, given their the personality of these creatures. So gray renders. Let's get some artwork up there, because these are hulking beast-like creatures with a very active appetite.
Yeah, the 5e art at the very least reminds me of like a hippopotamus, but this is 3e, I think.
I think so.
This really puts their size into perspective. For the audio listeners, it's ripping like a literal tree out of the ground, and it doesn't look like it's a small tree. Like the size of the roots kind of let you know that this is this is a relatively old tree. It's probably 10, 15 feet tall, the tree.
Yeah. I mean, these I actually, you know what, I might say it's smaller, so maybe the perspective is weird on that. Maybe it's not appropriate. But that being said, I don't know the size of this creature in 3E, so it could have been larger. But I mean, this is a large creature, it's not a huge one. So yeah, let's check out the 4E maybe. Ooh, that also makes it look incredibly large, doesn't it? Looks even bigger.
Yeah.
Even. That looks like
it does.
This one looks like a Godzilla enemy. Like someone's in that suit.
Right. It definitely has kaiju vibes. It also, for whatever reason, really reminds me of the Rhino from Spider-Man.
Okay, yeah.
Like maybe it's the proportions, maybe it's the head
hunched over, wide,
blades.
broad shoulders. Yeah. Yeah. I could see it. Kind of looks like sort of what's the like artwork, what's the pre-stage artwork to like films and stuff, what's the word for that?
Oh, concept art.
This is like concept art if Spielberg took Jurassic Park in a very different direction.
Right. This is the original concept art for Ghidorah.
Yeah. And then 5e, I think I like 5e is the best because it's the simplest and it looks a little more bestial, and less kaiju-esque, I guess.
Yeah, the proportions are way different in 5e.
Yeah.
Like its legs don't look like actual tree trunks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's got
5e
some
5e 's
massive
good.
shoulders and biceps, though, like massive.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and it's up like howling at the moon.
So yeah, these gray renders, henceforth probably just going to call renders. That's what a lot of the wiki stuff did, but they're like powerful masses of dense bone and muscle. They do walk on 2 feet, despite looking like they're hunched over, and they look like they'd be very much like quadrupeds, but that can, like almost like a bear posture, right? They can get up on those hind legs, but they almost
Right.
look like they would be more comfortable on 4, but it's not the case. So their arms are really long. They always have that hunched over posture. They drag along their arms often drag along the ground when they're just kind of walking. And even in this hunched over position, they're basically, their top height is about 9 feet tall. So they're pretty big, but they're not
Yeah,
ripping
that's
out 60-foot
but
trees.
they're not
big.
like
Yeah.
they're not like they're not as big as the artwork leads me to believe they
Yeah.
are.
And the shoulders, in the 5e artwork, you can't quite see like the width. They look big, but you don't see the width. But they're supposed to be around 4 feet wide, apparently, and are said to have the strength of a giant.
Which is quantifiable in this particular instance.
Of course, yes. So hairless and gray all over. They have sharp claws, powerful jaws, black teeth, and 6 small yellow eyes that are sloped along are lined up on each side of a sloped forehead, as is described. So they got like 3 on each side. They're a little bit unnerving, the eye thing, I find.
Yeah, they really are, but I have no idea what evolutionary purpose 3 of the same eyes in a row on the side of your head could possibly yield.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it
'Cause you
was
look
a
at
concern of the creators.
No, definitely not.
Whether that was the artwork guy or the Nyogi,
Right.
Right.
I mean, the Nyogi are weird enough in their own right.
Yeah. So we've got so these creatures, the renders, they have a very curious craving from birth. It is a need to bond with an intelligent creature. This is like something that drives them. And if they can find said creature, they basically will lend them great strength. And they have a very rather savage nature, and are incredibly loyal in their protection of this intelligent creature that they find themselves bonded to. However, they are known to lack any sort of cunning. Not terribly smooth or intelligent about their approach with this. So before we get into that a bit more, I want to talk about some of the previous lore that I found on the wiki that covers their reproduction, which is asexual. They actually form like these nodules on their body that eventually reach a level of maturity that cause them to drop off and begin a new life as another gray render. And the parent feels no obligation toward the young, and they are left to their own devices. So survival of the fittest at its finest. And one can imagine that this would lead to a sudden burst in population in the right circumstances. However, this is extremely vague, and we are given no timeline or number of nodules. In fact, in 3.5e, it's actually described specifically as only one render produces one offspring in its lifetime only, which is very much in contrast to the vague descriptions of 5e. And while it's still produced asexually, it is formed and develops in a pouch or pocket on the render's body, which does not seem to exist even in the artwork. So not a lot of consistency there.
That is a bananas direction that they took that.
Right? And I find it really strange that they've given almost nothing, but still managed to contradict themselves. There's so little information, and none of it lines up. So it seems to me they really decided to arbitrarily change this creature over the editions, even though it hasn't been around for very long. So let's talk about the bond that they have. So
Yeah.
between the editions, things are quite curious, as you can imagine at this point. The bond seems to form in the context of the Grey Render adopting the intelligent creature, its own lack of intelligence making it a fierce ally, but with consequences. Sometimes the adoptee is, in fact, unwilling, but does not matter to the render at all. So it will follow and protect regardless. In fact, even if its master attacks it, it will simply retreat and return without any hard feelings. And now I say master because that is a term consistently used in the 5e lore, but it is at odds with the previous editions, which are what introduced the idea of the Grey Render adopting the intelligent creature. So I think that's a bad change. I think it's kind of silly to like say, hey, they want to bond and kind of adopt an intelligent creature and protect them, and then the shift goes to that intelligent creature is now their master, you know, to 5e, and you're like, why? Like, why is the dynamic suddenly changed? You already had a really fun creature. So I have decided I'm not going to refer to master from here on forth. Here forward, it's going to be bond. It's the bond. Because I think it's just troubling, and it's stupid. It's not fun.
Yeah. A lot of this is kind of troubling. Like, how does this creature define an intelligent creature?
That's a good question, right? Maybe they just think humanoid creatures are intelligent. Who knows? They certainly don't. They certainly don't give us that.
Specifically intelligent? Like, how is it going to know before it forms a bond that it's an intelligent creature? Like, I like the idea of like a Grey Render and a hawk. Like, just
there's got to be a comic strip in that.
Yeah, or just like
hawk
a
and
goat.
Render at it again. Yeah, it could very well be. I mean, it's extremely fiercely loyal, but there's also this like this lurking fickleness to this creature.
Yeah,
it seems as well. So
or like a tabby. Like a tabby, the cats are very intelligent.
Well, that's where my brain is with this creature. It's a stray cat that picks its friend and knows that this friend can offer it more. Like it finds a human and knows it can be fed by said human and will do whatever it can to, like, you know, just hang out with the human or like drop some food off for it, or you know,
I mean, that's the theory on how we do domesticated dogs,
right? Like, so there you go. That this is kind of what this is. It's a wild dog or cat that's capable of being domesticated. In fact, it wants to domesticate itself in a weird way. So
right. Well, so I think dog is probably more apt, because you can domesticate dogs where you can tame cats. You can't domesticate a cat. A cat will just do whatever the fuck it wants at any time, but a dog is loyal.
Well, it just could be cat dog, because we're going to get into the chaos part, which is more cat-like, I think. Well, I guess it could be dog-like, but we'll see.
Right. Take me there.
So the render, so when it finds this intelligent creature it wishes to bond with, it sings to it, which is to say it makes a weird warbling sort of cry while scratching at the earth and showing, and basically creates a show of humility and submission. Which is basically the 5e description, the humility and submission part in particular, which I think is probably what they put in to line up with the whole master thing.
Yeah, they're choosing words really, really poorly here.
Yeah,
master,
they really are.
Submission.
Yeah.
Humility.
I mean, I don't think they used submission, or maybe it was maybe they didn't use humility. They used one of them, I think, and I just added some more into, I don't know, make it feel less icky. But the so once bonded, the render will never, ever willingly cause harm to the bond. This is very, very particular wording. Willing being the operative word. So when hunting, for example, they will happily lie in wait and spring a trap and then attack in a murderous rampage. Only the bond is avoided when it comes to collateral damage. So it will go into a murderous rampage, but it still has this little thing in the back of its head saying, don't hurt the bond. Now they also maybe won't listen if they're told to stay, and so they will follow their bond into a situation that becomes more dangerous with its presence. So it's not really a master scenario here. It's just kind of like, stay, okay, nope, follow. They might also accidentally destroy a Bond's house, which was one of the options that could happen, because they're also just as likely to burrow a hole in the side of a boat, not realizing that it's not Earth. Um, they could simply attack
This is
someone.
100% based on somebody's golden retriever or something. Like,
They will simply sometimes attack someone out of jealousy for its Bond. Just, what, you talking to my Bond? Oh, no.
yeah, this sounds exactly like one of the guys I grew up with. Dog.
Yeah.
Stay, and then he would turn around and the dog would just follow him.
Yeah.
And when he turned back around, the dog would sit back down in a new position, like 5 feet closer.
And then it is also described that it will sometimes return home with a fresh kill, like a cat with a rat or a bird.
Oh, right.
Who knows? Who knows what else it might have killed too, though. Like I put the cat with the rat and the bird there, but like, who knows what it would bring home? It could be anything.
Right. It, like, drops like a dragonborn on your
doorstep. Yeah. It's like, because the night before you were ripping about how the potion vendor gave you a raw deal. He just drops the potion vendor off. There you go.
Tie your gray render out front of the tavern when you go in for a pint, come out in a fist fight.
No, the point of this is that they are hugely unpredictable, or they have a hugely unpredictable side, I should say. So be wary if you get adopted by a gray render. Now, here's a little fun part. I do appreciate this little bit, and we have a roll table. James, pull out a D12, will you? Surely you got one in arm's reach. Oh, I put him on the spot, guys.
Yeah, you know what I do? I got my Kraken ooze dice.
Nice.
All right.
So
D12.
This is for quirks on a gray render quirks. So any render might have a series of these. Some of these are just stuff we've already talked about. Some of them are kind of fun. So when you roll me a D12 and tell me what you got.
I got a 6.
A 6. Brings offerings of meat to its bonded creature. Yeah, we covered that. Roll me another one.
It's actually on the fucking table.
It's on the table, yeah. Despite it being in the lore, it's also on the table. There's a couple of those.
That one's a 9.
9. Howls when it rains.
Sounds like a dog.
Give me one more.
11.
Buries treasure it finds. I like
that would just be frustrating.
What? Yeah. That's good. There's a couple other ones that are fun. Just like hates horses or other mounts. Roars loudly when the bonded creature is touched by another creature. That's the jealousy one. Compulsively digs up the ground. Attacks carts and wagons as if they're terrible monsters. It's just like, I love it. My favorite one is number 12. Chases birds, leaping into the air to catch them, heedless of the discretion it causes.
Wow.
Just leaping. Never take it to the aviary.
Right.
You might be in trouble.
So there's one on here. We'll try and, I think we could legally post this on our Insta.
I'm sure
we'll throw this up. We'll throw this up on the gram for those of you who follow that. But there's one here that says uproots and chews on trees. And if we take a look back at our 3E art, it looks like it's been on a rampage for that particular one.
3E1, he's not even rampaging. He's just having a snack. That's right. The tree, having a snack. But I bet you this one though, it likes horses. You know why? Because there are known to be bark-eating horses.
There's your callback for the
week. Might be one of the earliest callbacks I've ever done.
Wow. I don't even remember what episode that was.
That was Tree Ants. I'm quite sure it was Tree Ants. Episode number 3. Yeah. Wow. Because there was some gnarly shit in that episode, in that research. Oh god. Yeah, so that's it. That's gray renders. Pretty straightforward, flavorful in an odd way. But I think they're fun. I really hate that D&D kind of just made them all back and forth and did them all weird, but they did them dirty a bit. But I think there's still something really fun there.
Yeah, I wonder why they're redesigned like that, but oh well. Speaking of chasing birds, we are sitting here with another delicious
no.
black male stout, which is iconography is the Raven of Old One Eye. So this is the bird that I'm chasing in my free time.
That was so brutal. As soon as you said bird, I knew we were going to. It was like I just pictured the bird on the can without even looking at it.
Yeah.
Yep. You old black male stout. Loyal fan of Encounter This. All right, let's see how this creature works, shall we? The old mechanics.
Let's do it.
Now, for a random, unpredictable, but somewhat friendly destruction machine, what kind of CR do you think we're looking at?
Since it's pretty much just a 9-foot tall retriever, I'm gonna say like 6.
It is 6 if you times it by 2.
Okay.
That's 12.
Right. Okay. That is way higher than I feel like this already deserves to
right?
be.
There's something exciting about the fact that it's a CR12 destruction machine. So it is large, as I said earlier. AC of 19, natural armor, alignment, chaotic neutral. Something they've added in Monsters of the Multiverse we may have covered before is in parentheses. It says typically, so they're kind of like trying to coax you into not being locked into those alignments. It has
you were to begin with.
189 HP, or if you want to roll for it, 18d10 plus 90, 30-foot speed on the land. No DR or DI or CI to speak of. Dark vision. They got a little boost to perception. And with a +2, they have a +8 to strength and +9 to con for saving throws. And again, another thing that's included in Monsters of the Multiverse is they actually tell you what the proficiency bonus is. This doesn't really change. You can backtrack that pretty easy if you know your proficiency bonuses, but it is a +4, so you can see it, deliberately reflected in the strength. So if we look at the ability scores, it's a 19 with a +4. They have a +8 strength saving throw, so you're getting a proficiency bonus to that. Same thing with the con, so on and so forth. So the intelligence of this creature is down to that base animal of 3 with a -4. Everything else is pretty low as well. All the
Sorry, I gotta stop you. I don't think you add proficiency bonuses to your base stats. You add them plus your ability modifier to get your skills if you're proficient in a skill or an attack roll.
It's saving throws as well.
And saving throws, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that not what I said?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry, the way you phrased it sounded like you were adding it directly to the ability score here. But now I see you were talking about the ability score,
the modifier,
plus the proficiency bonus to get to the
correct,
the saving throw. Yeah,
okay. I may have worded that funny, and if I did, I don't apologize. Deal with
it. Okay, dealt with. But I do like having the proficiency bonus there. It's nice not to have to do the math if I don't want to.
Instead of having to look in 2 different places and do a quick math, you can just go, oh, it's that. Perfect. But yeah. So they have no special abilities of any kind. There is another restructuring in the stat blocks a bit where they don't just do like abilities and actions anymore. They also have to like reactions are separate and stuff. So they've kind of like recategorized a bit. So they have no abilities, no passives or anything like that, but they do have multi-attack under their actions. So they do 1 bite and 2 claws. I'm guessing because of their power and somewhat their size, they have a +8 to hit. For the bite, it's 2d12 plus 4 piercing. And if a target is medium or smaller, it's a DC 16 strength save or be knocked prone just from a bite attack.
That's such a weird modifier in a bite attack. Like, you ever been bit so hard you fell over?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. But they do that with wolves too. But I don't know if it's because they pounce
wolves are biting your leg. They would also bite your leg.
True.
This is a 9-foot tall creature that's not going to bite your leg. I guess it's probably going to reach down, bite you, and then drop you out of its mouth.
Maybe, yeah. I also think it's going to try and bowl you over a bit, and here's why. It's because of the claw. So the claw comes into this as well. So it's also a +8 to hit. However, it does have a 10-foot reach, and it's 2d8 plus 4 slashing, but it does an additional 2d6 bludgeoning if the target is prone. So it'll kind of bowl you over while biting you, I guess, and then start clawing, and it gets extra damage in if you get knocked prone. And it's not a very seamless order of operations here, especially with one of them being 10 foot.
No.
The one that needs to be prone is a 10 foot. It doesn't. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
This doesn't make sense to me at
all. Worth quickly noting too, just on top of it, is that they actually reduced the bludgeoning damage, the additional bludgeoning damage, when Monsters of the Multiverse. It used to be 3d6, now it's 2d6. So they nerfed it.
I don't understand. Is okay, so maybe it's further down the stat block, but why is this a CR12? Like, it hits hard, but it doesn't hit that hard.
Yeah, but it's hitting a lot. I don't know. Hits 3 times per turn. Oh, and well, it's also got a reaction here. So anytime the render takes damage, it can use a reaction to make 1 claw attack. Again, that's 10-foot reach. So that kind of matters a bit. To any random target except for its bond master, it says in the stat block. So yeah, anything in the 10-foot reach, it'll be random though. So it could be, it's basically going on its rampage, which, this is where I would have expected an ability, like Murderous Rampage is an ability, and like it would cause that, but they've just restructured it as such. But yeah, so it's you don't know which way it's going to swing if you attack it, other than it's not going to attack its bond. And then otherwise it's just swinging and biting. And that additional damage could add up. Like whether it makes a whole lot of sense, if you just follow the structure of that, it's a bite, probably knock you down. So 2d12 plus 4, and then a slash, which is going to be 2d8 plus 4 plus 2d6 on each of those slashes. So that's a lot in one go.
It's 54 max. Max would be 54 damage.
Okay. Yeah, and in one turn.
Okay.
I mean,
I guess. And I guess it's assuming that you have a leader with it, or like some other
right. It's not on its own. Yeah, it's definitely not on its own.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they're factoring that into the stat block as well. I mean,
and despite the fact that this creature wouldn't be strategic, but it would have a built-in strategy of protect the bond. So, whatever there might be some randomness to it, but it would have a sense of direction. If someone's going after the bond, it's going to turn tail and head that direction, or maybe it's intelligent enough to recognize that the wizard at the back is attacking the bond, and so it's gonna beeline through the group and hit the squishy.
It is definitely not that intelligent.
Yeah, I don't. Even as I was saying it, I didn't believe myself.
Yeah. So the only reason I can think of this being a CR12, like, again, it hits like a truck. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting that, but it also has 19 AC and 189 hit points.
It's not
and
a
that
lot
is
at level 12.
Frustrating combination.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, but it's very hard to hit, or it will be difficult to hit, and it does have, for it being very difficult to hit, it has a lot of HP. So normally you go one way or the other. So they hit it a lot, and it's a damage sponge, or they don't hit it very often, and it's a glass cannon.
Right.
And the reason is this just becomes frustrating for the players because it's going to be hard to hit, and when they do hit it, they're not like what is a level 12 fighter going to be doing? 24 points of damage on one attack. Like call it.
What this needs?
Like, it'll probably hit as hard.
You know what this needs? It needs a Murderous Rampage ability where if the bond gets hit, that's when it goes into a Murderous Rampage. And then that Murderous Rampage lowers its AC, grants it temp HP, and then increases its damage.
You could just
and like that lasts for one turn or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then if you don't attack the bond again, it just goes back to its normal rampage instead of the murderous one.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Or you could just throw the rage mechanic on it from the barbarian and just give it
exactly
rage.
What I'm thinking.
Anybody attacking it has advantage.
Yeah. It's like rage, but triggered by the attacking of someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think that would. I don't think that would change this creature really all that much. You don't up the damage die or whatever, but you just you change how it hits. It has everybody has advantage essentially.
Like start adding its proficiency bonus now that we have it readily available to its damage. So instead of +4s, you're doing +8s on top of your rolls. Like that would
Right.
be enough to make it a little bit more intimidating, you know?
But so I'm not worried about it being intimidating. Like I'm not concerned about it not like again, 54 is decent. Like at
Yeah.
max damage, this is gonna hit like a truck. I'm not
Yeah.
super worried about that. What I'm concerned about is how long this combat is gonna take because you're
Mhm.
not just fighting this creature. You're fighting something else. You know,
How
whether
about
it be a
this?
hawk or a wizard.
How about this? What if what if we take the quirks table? Bear with me here. And when you roll on that, you find a way to incorporate it into this creature. So say you roll a 3 and that is likes to snuggle. Now this creature has a crushing hug attack similar to the Annis hag. Where it actually tries to grab you and pull you in. Howls in the rain, give it a piercing scream ability that's like, you know, a cone or an all around you kind of thing, like the banshee. You know,
Compulsively digs, just give it burrow.
just give it burrow. Oh man, how crazy would that be? This large creature just suddenly burrowing.
That'd be fucking metal as hell. Now I'm in. Just give it a burrow speed and that fixes this creature for me.
Chases birds. If you're an Aarakocra or a Kenku, you're fucked.
Oh god. Yeah.
Oh god. I'm already loving this. Oh, number 5 is actually really good. You could go into a Catablopus direction because it has terrific and eye-watering flatulence. So it stinks real bad. Oh man, that would be way more fun. Make the quirks mechanics. Go down that road.
Yeah, I dig that. Yeah.
And then it feels a bit more like a pet that's adopted you at the same time, you know?
Yeah, and it
really
feels like a more rounded creature. Like
Mhm.
both between the lore and the stat block, I feel like this was just like a product of necessity. You know, they needed something in that CR12 range that was a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
And that's what this creature is. Like,
fill the void.
don't get me wrong, this is not going to be an easy combat between the AC 19 and the 189 HP. Or if you max out your HP, like that's so much more.
Yeah.
So this isn't going to be an easy combat. Plus, you've got something more intelligent, like ideally a controller, maybe a druid. But you know, at the very least, I don't know, like a wolf, I guess. What is the most intelligent beast out there?
I have no idea. A bird of some kind?
So, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably a raptor or a wolf or something, but or saber-toothed cat. I don't know, but at the very minimum, you're fighting 2 creatures, and if one of them is a glass cannon or a controller or you know some other like a support battlefield role, essentially.
Yeah,
like this could be a long fucking combat.
I just had another idea too. If you roll the quirk attacks carts and wagons as if they're terrible monsters, this could be the smallest creature with the siege monster ability, where it where it can actually break through the town wall with ease.
Next campaign you run, I want siege mechanics to actually come in play because I've never in my years heard of siege mechanics coming into play just naturally.
Same.
You either force them in or the campaign is built around
this would almost make it easier to work with, wouldn't it? Like you have it because you're always dealing with a gargantuan creature that has like siege stuff, right? Yep. And they just throw it in because it's obvious it's going to do more damage to structures because it's so goddamn large. But this is just
even
a
with
large
the chases
creature.
Birds, you could add the siege mechanics in there.
Oh man. Yep. Well, we made this creature fun.
Fun for us anyway.
No thanks to wizards. So yeah, I mean that's mechanics in a nutshell. Technically, I would go 100% the weird, massive, hairless, great cat that has adopted me approach. Like that's a no brainer.
Yeah.
Technically, that makes it a homebrew in 5e, but not that many 5e people care. And yeah, just none of that master bullshit. And then just get into some idiosyncrasies and that quirks list, and just use that for some flavor. This could very well be a creature that you use in a 1 or 2 person campaign. This is like your NPC, and they got to deal with the chaos of the gray render, but it's also a really good kind of like beefy backup boy for having a lack of players. I mean, you might have to play with the CR a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, this is your wizard's familiar.
Yeah. It wouldn't be difficult to like bring down the CR just by dropping the damages and stuff and the stats. And then yeah, maybe you find a young one in the forest and it bonds to you, and then you watch it grow over the campaign.
Don't tell them what it is though. Like surprise them.
Every time you level up, it gains a new quirk.
Did you ever see the Tick cartoon show?
God. No, only a little bit. Only like
Okay.
clips here and there. Yeah.
So at one point he finds a dog in the Amazon and he brings it back to New York with him. And he calls
Okay.
it Speak because it speaks to him in like his dreams and stuff. But they find out like a half season later that it's actually just a capybara. He's been carting the world's largest rodent around with him as like a little chihuahua this whole time.
Funny.
Yeah. That's what I imagine with this gray render. Like you just describe it and they're just like, all right, that's fucking weird. And nobody knows what it is until like 8th or 9th level, or you get to a big city and somebody's like, whoa.
What the? Yeah. Yep, pretty much. I'm into it. I think creatures like this are just fun. Even if it's not, you could reskin this any way you like to. Like there's nothing nothing like relying on being this big gray thing. You know,
that's kind of why I'm disappointed
anything.
by it, is because there's no defining mechanic or characteristic.
Maybe if we dive into the Neogi, we'll get more. Maybe, but I wouldn't hold anyone's breath.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Freeman's next episode, Neogi.
Why not? I got nothing lined up.
Fair enough. I'm not going to hold him to that, but you guys can. You know where to find us. You can shoot him a message on Instagram at encounter.pod. You can hit us both up on facebook.com/encounterpod, Twitter at encounterpod, unchartednorth.com/discord. If you want to jump into our Discord and yell at us directly, you can do that. If you like the show, you can find it at nope, that's not how that line goes. I wanted to order because I'm a fool. If you like the show, you can help us produce them at patreon.com/unchartednorth. $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you letter and a theme button, some stickers, some other goodies, whatever we have on hand. $10 a month, you can suggest a creature. So if you want to make sure Freeman does the Nagoy next, you can... Or Neogi. I always called them Nagoy in my head. So if you want to make sure Freeman does the Neogi next, it'll only cost you $10 a month, and that you'll also get a discount shop for our merch store when that gets updated and up and running. If you want to see what we have available currently, you can find it at unchartednorth.com/shop. If you want to see the show notes that we used to produce this, maybe some extra, some of the images, you can find that all on our website at encounterthis.ca or unchartednorth.com, however you want to get there. If you have a second, if you could hit the subscribe button down below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, if you could rate and review on your platform of choice, that would be just choice. But thank you for listening, and we hope the start of 2023 has been as good to you as other years, if not better, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm lazy when I use that choice.
Well, you've been doing them for over 3 years.
Change to YouTube and merge companies, and it just fucks my whole flow up.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's that.
See you in 2 weeks with the next most episode, which will be...
Still being determined?
No, I know what I'm doing. I just
okay.
I didn't know how to reference it without giving it away. So
to TBD.
Yeah.
TBA?
Yeah, you'll find out in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you can tell me what a better hint would have been.
Hold on to your butts. 2 weeks time.
Yeah. Yeah. You can when you think of a better segue, you can throw some shade at me in the Discord.
Ooh.
There's your hint for the
That
week.
was your hint. Okay. Yeah. At him. Not me.
Yeah. Twitter or the Discord. We don't check the Facebook. We're millennials. Okay. Thank you,
All
creatures, for listening, and we will be back in 2 weeks with the next one.
See you, friends.